Welcome to We Need to Talk Now. I'm Alicia Jay, and we are live, Lisa.
Live.
We are live from the Women's Final Four in Tampa. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited that CBS is here. We're really excited to talk about women's basketball, but what I want to know is, you've obviously played in NCAA tournaments. Can you tell me, like, a moment that you remember that just sticks out to you when you played?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't make it to the Final Four. I think we lost in 2 Elite Eights, and so I just remember just the heartbreak of, like, not getting that one more game to get here. But also I remember the fun and the competition and getting a chance to travel and play against other teams that we had never played against, some you never heard of. So I think the experience overall was just my senior year. I was the National Player of the Year. So I was working so hard to try to be the best and to get us that one more game, I wish, to get to the Final Four. So I think just the overall competition is what I loved. I love playing. I wanted to get to this moment, and I wasn't able to. But I think watching the Final Four is just historic. It's a story. It's how you create a program, if your program can make it here. So I really have always loved the Final Four, even though my experience wasn't as great as I wanted it to be.
Well, your experience watching it and covering it, I'm sure is amazing, too, just to watch the growth of the game. You mentioned being the National Player of the Year. JuJu was just named the Naismith Player of the Year.
Yes.
Do you have a message for her? I know we saw you on Twitter, what you sent her a message, a heartfelt message, but is there anything you'd like to say to her as she continues to recover?
Yeah, I think for JuJu, I would just say I know that this is not sort of the story that she probably would have written for herself, but we all make it there in a way that is not always traditional, right? I didn't win a national championship. She still has an opportunity to do that. So I think the recovery, giving herself grace, is going to be important. To just take your time to come back. We know how explosive and what a great player you are, and don't forget who you are while you're on this journey. But we've also seen so many great players who've had that type of injury and come back and do amazing things. And I know JuJu she's strong. She has a great support system with her family. Her mom and dad are there, and I know she'll be back.
She will.
Even better.
Even better. We're looking forward to that, too, for sure. Send her prayers and the best wishes.
Yes.
Always. But we're here at the Women's Final Four. It's electric, literally. What are you looking forward to watching the most from these teams?
Well, here's the thing. When you look at South Carolina and Texas and the fact that this is their 4th time meeting each other, I think you look forward to they are both the most outstanding defensive teams. Who's going to get their offense going? I think it was Texas that hit only 2 3-pointers. South Carolina only 3 3-pointers. Somebody's got to have breakout game in order for one of those teams to move on. So it's going to be exciting to see that. And then just the matchup of UCLA and UConn, both of them have been so prolific in scoring. They both hit 10 3-pointers as a team last game. So are they going to continue that? Is Paige Becker's buckets going to just go off again? She might give you a 40-piece. You just never know. Sarah Strong has played so amazing. She's been so fun to watch as a freshman.
Yes.
And then Lauren Betts, listen, are you betting on Betts or not? Because this is the time where we need 6'7", turnaround, knocking down jumpers, and blocking shots. So I'm just excited really for this game, these matchups. This feels almost like championship night, because you know that in order to get to that last game, this becomes the toughest game for for all these teams. And it's going to be so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I'm already popping my popcorn because we have some amazing games to watch. You mentioned Lauren Betts. And she was, really honest and transparent about being bullied, because she was taller and different than the rest. We're both tall.
Yes.
We're both tall women.
We're extra tall. 6'5" and 6'6" up here, right?
6'5" and 6'6", you already know.
Yes.
What would your message be to young women who kind of feel the same way as her? Because I was really, I was proud of her for saying that, because it's really hard to share something like that. So what would your message be?
I think my message is not even just to the tall people. It's to the others. Stop bothering us so much. We know that we're tall. We were born this way. It's not like we picked a height. We're tall. And so I know that one of the things I read about Lauren Betts and her teammates is that she's never off because you see her all the time, whether it's airport, whether it's in public, that people always have a comment about her height, right? Yeah. And you don't do that to other people no matter what size they are. So I think people have to just like let us live. We recognize that we're really, really tall. We walk this earth as beautifully as we can, but the ostracizing, the bullying, it's just so unnecessary because those are things that are out of her control. But for those women, I say directly, listen, you got to learn self-love, love yourself. God makes no mistakes. And for us to be as tall as we are such beautiful people inside and out. And you just have to continue to let your light shine.
Let it shine all day, always, for sure. So we talked about Betts. We're obviously really excited to watch her play. Yeah. Are there any other players that you're looking to watch tonight?
Honestly, I know I mentioned Sarah Strong, but we're talking about a phenomenal freshman who will probably win Freshman of the Year. But when you look at what Sarah has been able to do in the paint, first of all, defensively, the 17 rebounds, and the fact that she really forced, I think, the USC Post to just stop shooting in the paint, like blocking shots, everything that she brings to the game from a defensive standpoint, I love. But also her offense, like her jumper is wet from anywhere on the court, whether it's a runner, it's a drop step, it's a three-point shot. Like, to see the poise that she has as a freshman has been outstanding. So I really look forward to watching her continue to excel, and not just even in this Final Four, but what's to come. Like, she's an exciting player to watch.
Yeah, if this is the start of her career, I can't even imagine what is going to happen. So definitely looking forward to watching her. And you had a moment on our We Need to Talk show where, her mom was there too. People don't really know who her mom is, Allison Feaster. What was that moment like? Because I loved watching it in the studio. I can just imagine.
Well, it was a great and it's an honest moment for me because, when you have a teammate that you love and you share a locker room with, when they get traded, it's difficult to really reconnect and just really, I think it was at that time, to just really show her the love that I wanted to show her because we were still competing against each other. And then our teams ended up making it to the championship and playing against each other. So I really had to hold my feelings and my admiration for Allison Feaster. But she was an amazing teammate, so tough. She's a beast, a hard worker, a team player. And I wanted her to understand how much I really appreciated her. And to now see Sarah out there, a bigger version of Allison, she is just really going to be a phenomenal player and has already shown that as a freshman.
Yeah, and they also have the same exact face.
Right.
I was like, that's your child.
Baby. Exactly.
They
look just alike.
Just alike. Well, Lisa, tonight we're going to see some amazing teams. But one thing that has been a hot button of conversation in college, and specifically women's college basketball, is the transfer portal.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. A lot of people have entered the transfer portal. What are your thoughts on the transfer portal? And, what do you kind of see the future of college basketball because of the portal?
Well, I think it's interesting, right? I really am more on the side of the NIL deals and the players being able to get paid for all of the hard work and having our jerseys sold and all of the things that we bring to the universities. I love that part. The transfer portal, I think is going to need, it's like the Wild Wild West nut right now. It's just like you can play and then you can leave and then you can play and you can leave. Yeah. I think there needs to be some boundaries on that, reasons why maybe, or I don't feel like a player should be able to just, I feel like when you look at Haley Van Lith, she's on her 4th, 5th team. It's quite a few teams, and I don't know if there's a reason behind that other than she just decided she wasn't happy and she left. So that for me I think needs to change. I don't know what the right answers are about it yet, but I don't like that they can just continuously move year after year for 4 years. I think there needs to be a limit. Like you get two schools total or something.
Right.
Do
you think that there's any positives to players being able to have agency over moving, though? Because I remember when I played, my coach left, and she had recruited me and went through this whole thing, and I wish I kind of had it back then because of that. But do you think there's a fine line still? No,
I honestly, Alicia, had the exact same thing happen. My coach, Marianne Stanley, was fired my senior year, and that's how Cheryl Miller became my coach. But Coach Stanley got fired because she asked for equal pay of our men's team coach, which our record was much better, and we had gone to the Elite Eight. So I feel like there is some truth in that. And I wanted to leave, I thought, but guess what? I was going to have to sit out a year. It was my senior year. And so there were so many ramifications that stopped me from transferring because they fired my coach. And that's one of the reasons I went to USC. So I do understand the need for the portal 100% and the need for movement when it's not working out for you. I just don't know if the opportunity to move for 4 years in a row is also the need. Some of that you have to take some responsibility and owners on yourself and your choices. And I don't know that the portal allows kids to really do that because you can constantly move until you feel like you're happy, you're satisfied, or you're chasing a championship.
So looking for a little balance there.
A little bit of balance, I think, is necessary.
Well, you mentioned HVL, and when you look at the WNBA draft coming up, HVL, you have Paige Beckers. There's so many amazing players that are going to be in the draft. What are you looking forward to this season in the WNBA? Listen,
the WNBA is just getting better and better. The talent level is continuing to grow. The impact that these college players are having on the which remember, before, college players didn't really have a big impact on the WNBA. Some of them that were top players didn't even make rosters. That's changing, and so you're having impact players coming out of college, which I think is great for women's basketball in general. But I also think with the NIL deals, the social media growth that these players are bringing is growing our sport even more. Now, when it comes down to teams matching up and playing, listen, a rookie is a rookie, and you got to have your rookie, growing pains, and that'll be interesting because you have a lot of vets who are like, listen, welcome to the W, and let me just show you that we're not playing games. This is about jobs now. This is not about social, who's most popular. People are playing for jobs and money, and so it becomes really real. It's very serious, and I love it.
I love it too, and I really cannot wait for this season because it's going to be monumental, just like the growth of women's sports in general. What are you still looking to change in women's sports moving forward?
Well, with the whole you have the collective bargaining agreement that's coming up, and I just hope that there's no stoppage of play. That's my biggest thing. I hope that everything works out for the WNBA, for the women that are coming in, and that they can continue to play. Changes are happening. I don't know that I can say there's one thing that I want to happen differently because we're getting sponsors that are putting their money where their mouth is, and they're really supporting us in a financial way, and we're starting to see that trickle down. We're starting to see organizations really investing back in their players, and I think Unrivaled had a huge impact on what changes need to happen in the WNBA as well. So I think we're in a good spot. We're continuing to want to push for these women to have everything that they need, the resources, whether it's the hot tubs, the cold tubs, the facilities, the arenas, the practice facilities. All those things are important, and I think the pressure is now back on the league and the owners.
Yeah, it's definitely there. They're feeling the pressure for sure. So, listen, we're here in Tampa for the Women's Final Four. Do you have any advice for these women as they go into these games tonight?
I think you really just have to be excited, but be calm and stay focused. I'm the kind of player where I think having moments of meditation is really important, calming down, just to calm you. Whether it's, I used to color, I used to have headphones, really calm music. I used to listen to Sade before I got ratchet music later when you get closer to game time.
Both have its purpose.
But you have to have that calm, relaxed moments in time. And when it's time to turn it up, you go after it, but don't take plays off. I would rather you play, and I used to do this, 3 or 4 minutes as hard as I can and ask for a sub than to stay out there for 8 minutes and 3 of them you've sort of played it more tired. Every possession counts, and that's really what's important. Possessions, rebounds, 50-50 balls, you go after it. And the team that does that the best and the most consistent will win. And then the last thing is rebounds. We said no rebounds, no rings. It's the same thing here. No rebounds, no championship.
No rebounds, no rings. I know that's right. You mentioned that you colored beforehand. I think that's really interesting because Chloe Kitts from South Carolina, she does that too. How did that center you? Because we talked to her about that yesterday. I started coloring because we traveled so much on the plane. So at first it started when I was a nervous flyer, and my mom brought me coloring books and crayons, and that would help me stay calm. And then it just kind of carried over to coloring was a form of relaxation that I found really helps me to clear my mind. So it sounds probably kiddie, but I really enjoyed it, and it was very calming for me. Well, I'm going to have to start coloring. Yeah. That's something I haven't done before. Especially if you're on the plane. You get a little anxious, coloring
we didn't really have like mental health stuff that we talk about now,
right?
Where you have all this support. You just sort of dealt with it, and coloring was one of the ways that I really dealt with that.
So interesting. Well, let me get my coloring book out.
Yeah.
Lisa, thank you so much for your time here today. I know you are busy, booked and busy.
Booked and busy, baby. Let's go.
But before we go,
Yes.
I have to ask you, who's winning it all?
Oh my gosh, this is so tough. Let me just go with my bracket. My bracket is blown up because I chose USC. We know my JuJu's at home. So now it's sort of a toss-up. South Carolina is who I had them playing, so I still have South Carolina getting to the finals. But UConn and UCLA, I don't know if I can really pick. I mean, it's so
hard.
Much good basketball. But listen, I've been with Renee Montgomery the whole time. She's gone with UConn, so I'm going to go stay with UCLA. But who's going to win it all?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No prediction at all?
I don't have a prediction. I really don't. I don't know.
But what does that say to you about the women's college game right now, that you can't even predict what is going to happen? What does it say about the teams and just everything overall?
I mean, normally we're like, South Carolina's got it locked. South Carolina straight ahead. But I really feel like they have not played their best basketball. And if they can, absolutely South Carolina, because their defense is stellar. But the offense, the three-pointers, I don't know if you can win a national championship not making enough three-pointers. I mean, you look at UCLA or UConn, they both made 10 three-pointers. So the three ball is crucial. I mean, it's king right now in this game. And so it's very hard to pick South Carolina, even though I had them all the way to the finals. So I don't know. I just feel like I really can't give an honest answer who I think's going to win it.
Well, after tonight, I'm going to ask you that again.
All right,
so be ready to answer.
I'll be ready tomorrow.
But thank you so much, Lisa, for sitting down with us. And that has been another episode of We Need to Talk Now from Tampa, live from Tampa.
Yes.
So make sure you subscribe, like, comment, do all the things so you can get all of the updates, because you're not going to get these episodes if you're not. So thank you again, Lisa.
Yes.
And thank you for watching We Need to Talk Now, presented by AT&T.